Hey everybody, welcome back. Eliza Ben Shalom from the Matchmaker podcast. If you haven't yet grabbed your copy of Matchmaker, Find Me a Love That Lasts, you can get that on Amazon or any of your favorite places that you like to buy books, because we have listeners from all over the world. And today's episode is featuring Jack of Jack's Jewish Journey. Now you have to hear this story of how I found Jack. So I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling and I'm looking through things, and up Jack's Jewish Journey. And I'm like, that's cool. Whatever the first video was, it was so interesting that I was like, what? He's in Australia. He's dating this Jewish woman. He loves Judaism. And now he's in the process of converting. And I was like, who is this man? I think I must have watched 10 different videos. And then I sent him a message. I was like, I don't know who you are, but your story is really inspiring. And I'd love to get to know you. Say hello. And Jack messaged me back. And I said, I want your story and I want it on my podcast. So I want to welcome Jack and Tair to our podcast today. Welcome.
Hi, Eliza. Thanks for having us.
Hey.
Okay, so I'm catching you guys all the way in Melbourne. Is that where you're at?
Melbourne, Australia. Nice and dark and cold over here this time of the year.
Oh, right. It's your winter still. You haven't gone into the summer yet. Israel, for some reason, feels like it's summer, even though it's actually winter. It has not been a really, it's been a chetzi, but not such a cold winter here. Yeah, a little bit, but not so much this year. I don't know why. We have lots of sunshine. Anyway, we're so happy that you joined us from dark, cold Australia, from Melbourne. And I just want to dig in a little bit because I think our listeners are going to find this so fascinating. So I guess take me back a little bit so that our listeners know a little bit of the story. I got a little bit of it. I know that Tair, you spent some time in Israel, or you were born in Israel. Tell me, take us back so I have the story right.
So you can take us back from your Israel time, I guess.
Well, I was born in Israel, and I guess my family was traditional. So, I mean, we always kept kosher and had Shabbat every week, but not really much more than that. My mum came from a quite observant family and my dad not so much. We were kind of always in the in-between. And when I was 9, my parents made the decision to move to Melbourne in Australia. And although I guess we were so physically far away from Israel, they felt like they needed to get closer spiritually. So they've become more observant and I guess, took on more things because they were so scared that we would lose that sense of identity. And so that came with a lot of things. I've gone from growing up traditional but pretty secular to going to a religious school, and it was already such a shock learning a new language and culture and a new country, and then it was taking that on as well. I guess for me that was quite challenging. Then they kind of a few years later drifted away from that, and now they're kind of slowly coming back to it as well. So, been quite a journey. And I guess when I met Jack, and he made the decision to convert, that has actually brought me a lot closer to Judaism. And I honestly don't think that I would have been as close as I am now if it wasn't for Jack wanting to convert.
Okay, so let's take us back to when you guys met and give us a timestamp. What time in the world was it that you met? What year? And how did you guys meet?
Just to paint a little bit of picture, in Melbourne we had, I think, one of the worst lockdowns in the world.
Yeah, I think it was.
Would you say? We had, we could only leave the house for 1 hour a day, and we had a 5-kilometer radius, and we couldn't leave the house after 9 p.m. Everything was closed, like a lot of other places in the world, but ours I know was a lot stricter. I was kind of dying to move out of home. I was working from home at the time, in actually customer service role. Everyone was distracting me. I just wanted to get out, and one of my friends told me that her friend, which was Jack, was in a 3-bedroom home all alone, and wouldn't mind some company. So me and my other friend, moved to the other rooms in the house and kind of lived our life there. It was quite far away from where I was living at the time, and that's where I met Jack.
That's how it started, I guess.
You started out as roommates during COVID lockdown, because you could only hang out with the people that were in your immediate house.
Yeah. I was living with my brother and another mate, So we were like up in the north of Melbourne, just living life, I guess. And then when COVID hit, they thought the good decision was to move back to their parents' house because the restrictions weren't so tough. And then, but for me, I was like 4 hours from home. So I was like, wow, do I go all the way back home and have an easy life and not have any restrictions? Or do I stick it out in Melbourne and, you know, tough through it, I guess. And it was a great decision, I guess.
Okay, so you started out as accidentally roommates thrown together because of COVID and just looking for other social interactions since you could only be out for 1 hour a day within a very small radius of your location.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it was really nice. Like us, like I was friends with her and Jack was friends with her and still are. So it was kind of nice that we had that. But other than that and going to work, there's really not much else to it.
And it was good. Like, it was an opportunity to like meet someone new. Like, at that stage, we didn't even know how long it was going to be until we could
Right.
someone, or like there was a 5 kilometer radius. So, you know, when you were bored, you just chucked your runners on by yourself and went for a walk 5 kilometer radius. But then, like, we got an opportunity to, like, wow, 2 new people are going to move into my home. Like, you know, it's a big thing. I'm not about it. Like, I'm a really simple Aussie kid. Like, I wasn't sure about 2 random people just moving in. But then, I don't know, something like hit me. I was like, why not? Like, you know, I need to meet new people. Like, especially when like COVID hit. You know, you'd lose a lot of friends because you just didn't have that connection for so long. So I was like, why not? Like,
So how did you go from roommates to actually deciding to date?
I guess it was just like spending a lot of time together because, you know, like I said, you weren't thrown out to go and see all your friends because everyone else was in lockdown. So all you had to do was talk and
you went
be
for walks
together.
together and like cook together. It's not like we could go out and do things.
You were forced to do everything together. The whole world shut down. You had to walk together, talk together, cook together. You were living together.
Right. And it was like, but it was, I don't know, as soon as I still remember the day so clear. Like, you know, Tia's mum packed her all this food, like an Israeli mother.
Classic Jewish. Terrified. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to move into this house in the north with these 2 randoms and it'll be fine and don't worry about it. But yeah, I think like from my perspective, you learn so much about a person, you know, by like living with them or by traveling with them. So I really got to know Jack on that level. And I do really believe that you get to know someone from, it's really the small things that kind of tells you a lot about what a person is. So yeah, I got to know Jack, I guess, in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like this was like the COVID relationship challenge. If we throw a whole bunch of people in a house and you have nothing else to do in the world, what will happen? It's kind of like Love is Blind, except it's not blind. It's like love is experiential and you get to live in the same place and do the same things. So how did it go from I like my roommate, there's something here, you guys start dating. Where did the Judaism piece kick in for you, Jack?
I would say it all started to, because obviously, like, as a kid growing up, I was a really curious kid. Country, had all the cows out in the backyard, had all the horses, all the dogs. Like, I was always doing something and learning new things. And it just, at that time, I was so, in a sense, lost of, like, I worked so hard to move to Melbourne. COVID hit, and I made new friends when I moved to Melbourne. Like, it was a fantastic time when I was young. But then COVID hit and I kind of lost all those friendships. You know, I lost the community aspect. And then obviously meeting Tahir was, you know, I started to hear of Hashem, and then we started talking about Israel in our spare time. And then we started, this is the Torah, and this is parashas, and this is what a mitzvah is, and like all these little things. And like, it just sparked my curiosity as if I was like a little 5-year-old out in the backyard. Like, it was those small moments of like just sitting there and chatting about Judaism, something that, like, especially for me, like growing up 4 hours north of Melbourne, not a Jewish soul in sight. Like, you would never, if someone asked you what was Judaism, like, you wouldn't you wouldn't know because you're just not
I was going to
exposed.
say, had you ever met a Jewish person before this?
Like, never in my life. But then that's where I was like, I'm such a curious and like person, like a thinker. As soon as you start these conversations, it just led to another thing. And then it's like who I am today. Like, I just ask a lot of questions. If I hear something, like, what's the reason to it? Or, so that's where I guess I first came across it, was when we obviously spending so much time together, was ask these questions, and then they would answer the questions. And then after that, and especially at that stage, like when we were housemates, I might ask 10 questions, and then at night time I go on my phone and like research a bit more, like, whoa, what's this guy? And I don't know, it's just such a beautiful spark that like hit me all at once, I would say.
So it's so interesting because for a lot of people, if they have curiosity, they get curious, they learn about something. But there's a difference between I have curiosity about something and this is a lifestyle for me. You're describing it as like a spark. How did you transfer from, wow, cool, never knew what a Jew was, never knew much about them, never met a Jewish person, to I want to be one? Like, how did it go from that shift of like the aha moment that something else exists out there and this is actually something that I want for me?
Yeah, I feel like growing up, even from a young age, I knew there was, like, I obviously didn't have much of a belief in anything else, but I knew there was some thing controlling the world, and I knew that everything was happening for a reason. And then, especially growing up in a small community, I feel like it resembles a lot to a Jewish community. Like, there's only 3,000 people in my hometown. Everyone knows each other. Everyone knows each other's stories. Everyone's friends together. So, like that, being exposed to that, it's totally different to like where I am now. But growing up, having that community, and then having to leave it off my own choice. Like, the country just wasn't enough for me at the time, and I needed that extra spark. And something was driving me to get out of the country, but I just didn't know what it was inside. And it's a really hard thing to explain when you feel stuck in like a place, but it's your hometown. And bless you. And so like my childhood was beautiful, and I loved it. And I've got, a lot of friends and family back there, but there was something inside of me that had to get out, and I had to just go and find myself. And that's when I took the leap. I remember telling my mum and dad, I was like, nah, like, I've loved it. I've loved every moment. You guys have done everything for me, but I need something. I can't tell you what it is, but I need to get out of here. Like, I was 17, so I was still in school. I moved into a little studio apartment down right smack bang in the city of Melbourne. And like, Melbourne to me was a big thing. Like, grew up around some cows and like a little post office.
I was going to say, it's a big city compared to where you came from.
Yeah, like massive. So I was a bit shocked, but I still remember so clearly the first night. Like, mum and dad brought me down, we moved in, and they went, and then I was like, whoa, what did I just do? I was by myself, laying in bed, and like, I just started crying. And I was never really an emotional person like that, but I was like, wow, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know who's dragging me here. I don't know my purpose here, but like, I'm just going to have a crack at it. Like, that was my mindset at the time. And then obviously, like, being a part of Tahirs friends, and then I met Jewish people, and then I went to Hanukkah events, and then, I went to Purim, and then I was surrounding myself back with that community aspect. And the spark in my heart, it was like when I was 5, running around my school friends playing football, like the community side of it felt like it was starting to come back. And then I still remember, we went to shul for the first time. Like, I was really curious. I wanted to get inside a shul. I wanted to see what it was about. I wanted to talk to these people. But, as a little country kid, I felt a little bit lost, and I was like, wow, I don't know if I'm going to get not judged.
Even Jewish people feel lost in synagogues, so you don't have to feel bad.
But like, I didn't want to just walk into such an unknown space and make a mistake, or
Not feel like you.
sound silly, or feeling belonged. But I still remember I walked in there, and I they're like, here's the Torah books, grab one. And I was like, okay, do I just grab one? And then do I grab another book? Like, what do I do? I saw other people grabbing 2 books. I was like, okay, I'm just going to grab 2 books. I'm not too sure if they're the right
Probably the same of the two books.
but I grabbed the 2 books, and like, obviously this was before when I started to meet a few friends and Taylor's family. They started calling me Yaakov, because Jack.
Right,
And
Jack, Yaakov, right?
and I still remember, I opened the book and I just went for English. I looked in the top left corner. I knew that was wrong straight away. But the first word I saw was Yaakov. And I was like no one.
Okay. He's like, I'm home. They're calling me Yaakov. I opened the book. My name is in the book. The first word I see is Yaakov. Wow.
That first moment, I still remember, no one was really around me at the time because, like, boys and girls separate. I was just grabbing a book, but I read it and I was like, whoa, like maybe there's something more than I'm just lost in Melbourne and I just happen to find myself in a shul. Like, it was probably that moment was the first time I was like, whoa, like this connection is real.
It's so interesting because from a place of curiosity came a real openness to an experience, and that just led you to more and more experiential moments where you were in your Judaism and something was happening to you through the process, and you just had this, like you're talking about, like these little sparks, these little bite-sized moments that seem to kind of just keep opening for you. And how about for you, Tahir? A lot of people who've been in relationships, Jews and non-Jews together, some people I've heard them say, like, listen, I don't want to change the other person. I like who they are, right? I don't need them to become anything for me. What was your feeling as he's growing closer to Judaism?
I think for me, I was only 20 when I met Jack. So at the time, I honestly didn't really give it much thought. So I didn't really care as much. Like, generally, like, your mum always tells you, you have to marry a nice Jewish guy. But I didn't really care at the time. And I guess as time, because, the kids will be Jewish if their mother is Jewish. So normally it's not as significant as, the other way around. But I guess as time went past, Jack was, more and more curious. And I'm lucky in the sense that by the time that I started caring about it more and more, Jack already had made the decision to want to convert. And I mean, it's one thing to make the decision to want to convert and convert. I think there was, we had over a year in between that period, probably even more. And obviously it's a big change for me as well. So I think I mentioned before, if Jack wasn't going through that process, I don't think I would have been as observant as I am today, and like as connected as well. So, through the conversion, like, every Monday night we go to like Kabbalah class, and I love the concepts and being able to apply them to everyday life, and even like taking on, keeping Shabbat. That has been, I think, like for me, one of the most challenging things, like putting the phone away and not driving and just turning the whole world off, because I'm just very naturally a go person, like always looking to get things done. So for me, it was hard to kind of lose a day. But I mean, like as time went on, I realized how much I needed it and how much I was losing a day, but I was gaining so much more than that. So look, I'm very grateful that, and I understand that I'm very lucky in the sense that, Jack chose to convert before I really cared about it. And obviously post October 7th, I think my, like, like I was wanting that more and more for myself and for my family. But I guess, yeah,
It was kind of an organic process that he.
yeah,
it worked out. It's not.
It's really funny. Like you see it from afar. Like maybe Taylor was dragging away from it, like going away from it a bit, but I'm pulling down and like coming closer, and then now we're like in the middle where it's just like 2 Jewish souls are like connected. Where 3 days a week we're doing our classes, which like 4 years ago when we met, we wouldn't have thought we would have been in this situation. And
And I think it's a pretty natural shift as well. Like, you know, for the last like almost 4.5 years now, like you've been to over 200 Shabbats now. When you think about it in numbers, like
Wow.
that is so
Wow.
fabulous. um, and you know, all the chagim, and like, you know, I've got a lot of like Jewish and Israeli friends, and like you've just been so exposed to it that it's almost like, I don't know, like it's become such a big part of your identity.
But it's like it's funny when you say that, like it just feels so natural. Like it's the Jewish, like when I talk to like Jewish people or the Jewish community, or now I've found new friends. Like it's interesting because I've been on both sides. Like I've had, you know, friends that aren't Jewish and friends that are Jewish, and like all my life I feel like I've just been wanting a connection that is the same as mine, and it's a hard thing to explain. But once I started hanging around with these people more and more and being involved in the community, and you know, doing the chagims and going to shul and like studying and reading about the questions that are in my head, everything just started to make sense. And it's like that's where I find like the whole thing is amazing, where I've just come from such a different background, where if you asked me this question like 10 years ago, I probably would just laugh and like,
He'd have been like, what? Who's
no idea.
Hashem? What's a Jew?
Right,
And your days are so different as well. Like when you think about it, Saturdays for you was just cricket,
yeah, like
cricket and beers and like
yeah. It was just,
And
like,
now it's Cholent and Hashem and Torah.
it's like, and that's where it's, I don't know, every day it's like it just feels so real for me, and I love it so much, where my life's gone from that kind of basic Australian life where you just hang around with friends and you go to work and then
there's not much more than that.
that's it. But where now it's like there's as much learning as you want out there. It's just how curious you are. And I'm such a curious person. Like, go speak to my
Clearly, you're insanely curious.
go speak to my rabbis. I just ask them questions where, like, they just keep answering. And I'll just keep coming with questions and
Wow.
what is this and why do we do this? But then, like at the end of it, I can sit there and go like, it all makes sense. And that's what I love so much about it. That everything we do and everything we practice and everything we say and like it all connects back to the one thing, and it makes sense to me. And it just feels like my whole life I was kind of lost from that. Like I was searching for it, but I didn't know where to search. It was like a needle in a haystack. Like, where am I
Kind of
going?
came to you just through your curiosity. Like
Like,
you got
yeah.
put right. You were looking for something, and then you got paired with roommates, and now you had an influx of curiosity because you had a Jewish roommate, and then you just started to learn, and it sounds like it just snowballed from there.
Yeah, like like I moved away from home and then I had to start again, and then I started again, got a new job and found some friends and thought I had a really good community, and then COVID hit, so then I lost it all again. So I was kind of
It was all guiding you at the right
like
time.
that 4 or 5 years I felt like I built myself up so much, and then it was like crushed back down, COVID hit. But then like I'm such a positive person where I was like, something is bringing me in the right direction. I'm not sure what it is, but I'll hold on. Like that was the time when everyone was moving out of the homes, and I was like, do I just go as well? Like I was like, no, I'm gonna hold on. There's a purpose why I'm here. Something's telling me to stay, so I'm gonna stay. That's where
You have such a strong intuition that you're very in tune with, that you, even when you don't understand, you just go, okay, but I'll just stay and I'll figure it out, right? If the message was just stay, you stayed, but not because you knew why, just because you had a feeling that you needed to be there to learn something else. So this leads me to, I have like a whole bunch of questions. First of all, we go from COVID to October 7th, right? So we go from lockdown to one of the most traumatic things in the Jewish history, alongside of the Holocaust and many other things. I mean, we have a pretty traumatic history as a Jewish people, which I'm sure you've now learned about from all your curiosity. why do you want to join such a people? Like, it's crazy. We are not loved by the world. We are hated. We are, I believe, a light unto the nation, doing incredible things, but it's really a difficult thing to be a Jewish person. Like, why choose what is an obviously difficult path?
To me, I think it's an easy question to answer. My soul was needing to get back to that connection. And like anyone says, like a convert, they've got a Jewish soul. It's just about revealing it. And I feel like now I've got the opportunity to reveal it. I also want to help others, and I also want to showcase that being a Jew is cool. Being a Jew is, you can't be scared. Be proud of being a Jewish person. And I say that to a lot of people, that you are so lucky to be Jewish. And like people like just smile back at that like few lines, and then it gets them thinking like, wow, maybe I am lucky to be Jewish. Like maybe I need to, look after and protect it a little bit more. An example of that, like last night I was walking in the street. We were walking
in St Kilda, which is actually quite a Jewish area in Melbourne.
Yeah, and I was crossing the road. Like I had my kippah on, of course. I was crossing the road, and like this young cars drive past. They one day we'd note down. They're like, "Yuck, Jew," and I was like, and I see it all on my Instagram. Like, but in person, it was my first time exposed to it in person.
Wow.
Like it was tough at that time, and I was like, "Poor, like why do the Jewish people have to deal with this? Like what? Like I've been on both sides. I'm just walking the street. I was just crossing the road, but then on the other side, I was like, no, like I'm gonna like pump my chest out more. I'll be a prouder Jewish person. I'll keep my kippah. I'm not just gonna, like some people these days, they might put it in their pocket. They might become scared of being like easily identified. But to me, I was like, no, like I'm not gonna let that affect how I'm gonna feel or my direction or what I was thinking. And literally 2 minutes later, I walked down the road a little bit more. These three, like I could tell they were Israeli guys. I could see it in their eyes, and
tell just by the way they walk.
I could tell they were Israeli, but I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't too sure, and I kept walking. And then obviously they saw my kippah, and they turned around like Shavua, and I was like in that moment, like I just experienced.
You're like
yeah. Like, that's why I wanted to pump my chest out, like, because I knew someone was there. Like I didn't know where they were, but like in the matter of 5 minutes, like I was exposed to
both sides,
hate and then like pure love, and the
unity.
The love of it was just, that was the reminder of like, nah, like these are my
keep
people.
going.
Yeah.
Wow, such a juxtaposition to have those two moments paired right next to each other.
Yeah, you wouldn't read about it anyway.
The contrast.
I'm not joking.
Well, now people are going to read about it and hear about it. I'm announcing it to the world. I'm letting everybody know about your story. It's really, really incredible. Okay, tell us where you're at on your conversion process story. So you met during COVID, you started dating, you got curious about your Judaism, you've been learning with a rabbi. Where are we at today?
So we do classes twice a week. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Orthodox Conversion, but there's 8 modules. So we do classes twice a week, and they go for around, each module goes for around 2 months. And then after that, you get a test. So you have to go back to the Bet Din. Then they test you on all these topics that you learned during that module. Then you get the tick, you pass, you go on to the next one. So like, it's just, I'm up to
module 2.
We just finished module 2, start of 3.
Yeah.
So we're just starting module 3.
About to do the test for module 2.
Yeah.
So I think now we're module 3. We're doing the
Shabbat, no?
The food prayers.
Yeah. Brachas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's amazing. Like each time, like all of these modules, I'm picking up and learning on like all these. Taylor probably knows majority of it, like heard of it before, but for me, like it's brand new, and I've got to pick up on it pretty quickly.
And I guess you get the opportunity to also like take it on.
Yeah, and you get
as you learn about it, and ask all the questions that you can. You've got rabbi in front of you. We've got a really good network, like support network. Like, we've got a great teacher and an amazing mentor. So I think it's so important to actually like connect to the people. And even on Friday, we also met a couple where the girl was converting. So that was really interesting to kind of understand, like, their struggles and what they're going through and how they got to where they are. But yeah, I think it's really important to surround yourself with the right people.
Okay, so you're in process, and not similar to like a university where you go to school and they're like, great, and after these many years, you're going to graduate, you'll have your certification, yay, you move on. In Judaism with conversion, it doesn't exactly work like that. It's like, come, learn. It's like, great, well, when's my graduation date? When is the actual conversion? They don't give you that, do they? I actually, I have a friend who converted years ago, and once you complete all of your classes, you're learning all of the tests and all of the things you need to know, and they confirm, like, yeah, you really still want in, you still want to be a Jewish person, like, you're okay with this. So finally she was able to go, and the end of the process is going to the mikvah and dunking in, we will call it the spiritual spa for our listeners, just to have a context of what it is. Maybe in a different show, we'll get into what exactly the mikveh is, but it's part of the end process. And I was the one to go with her to this process and to see that. But I know it was like, well, when is it going to be? And she's like, Elisa, they don't tell you. You don't know anything. You're literally on pins and needles. Like, is my conversion going to happen? Is it going to happen today? Is it going to happen this week? Is it going to happen this month? Is it going to happen this year? So I know that there's not an answer. So even when you complete everything, it's not like, yay, completed, and now next month we'll take the following step. So you're left kind of in a little bit of limbo, yes?
In a lot of limbo, I would say.
And I think even like getting your initial interview,
that took time as well. For me, it's like, it's not really the limbo and like waiting and like, let's convert so I can be Jewish. Like, I actually really enjoy it, and I think that makes it a lot easier as well. Like, if you love something, you have a passion for it, it just makes the whole process easier. Like, people are asking me, like, how long have you got left? What do you have?
Like, good question.
Yeah. Like, it's a great question. I'm not sure. Module 3, and they're like, what's module 3? And then you go through the explaining process of that, and they're like, no, like, how long is left until you're Jewish? And I was like, I'm not sure.
But isn't it fascinating though that like Tahir doesn't have to do anything? Like, if she didn't come to these classes with you, because she's not obligated to do that. You guys are doing that as a couple, and I think that's something that's really beautiful to keep you aligned. But if she wasn't doing those classes with you, you would probably end up having more Jewish knowledge than she does at the end of this whole process. Isn't it incredible? Like, it's like, if you're born Jewish, you happen to be born Jewish. You don't have to know a thing, but hey, if you want to become a Jew, you got to learn everything, and you got to say, are you willing to take it on? And this is for you.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I feel like that's why I love making the videos. Like, as I'm learning, I'm talking to people about what I've learned. So, like, I might create a video I might post a story of what I learned and the importance of it and stuff like that. And the amount of people that have responded back to those messages, like, for me, it's not much. I'm just learning something.
Yeah.
These people already know it, but they mightn't be practicing it as much. Some people are like replying back like, wow, your stories are so inspiring. I'm starting to put on tefillin, or, I've got my free morning, so I'm going to go to shop a bit more because of you, like, in your video. So, like, those little things for me is like such a warming feeling where I feel like I'm not doing much, or like I'm doing a lot in telling people what I'm learning, but I'm kind of just reminding them of, you've already got it. Like, that's why I say
appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Like, you're lucky to be Jewish, so look after it and cherish it.
I love this. I could talk to you guys all day. I would love, with your permission, to invite you to come back and do a second interview, follow up on your journey, hear where you're at, because personally, I'm very curious to see the progress. I love the inspiration that you're spreading to the world. Will you tell everybody where they can find you online so that they can follow along with your story?
Of course. Instagram, Jack's Jewish Journey, and you'll find all my content on there. So
hopefully see all the progress and
of course.
Where you're up to, and
I love it. And they can ask you questions, and you're responsive, and like,
like
I
this.
thought you were totally responsive to you, which was amazing. I was like, he wrote back. I got all excited. I was so happy. And it was really me. It wasn't like my people. It wasn't my people. It was me. I was like, this is amazing. This is such a story. So
Yeah.
I assume also, just to close us out, in terms of like taking your relationship to the next level, you're going to go through the conversion process. And then after that would be the time period that you would choose to get engaged, get married, and move forward with things. Is that accurate?
Oh, Hashem.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not that sure. Sorry, saving that for the next episode. We won't put you in an uncomfortable position. Okay, we'll keep that going. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so
For
much
anybody who is such a pleasure. For anybody who is listening, if you want to know more about Jack, you can go to Jack's Jewish Journey. Follow him on Instagram. If you want to know more about us, you can find me online at Aliza Ben Shalom. If you need some dating relationship stuff, which maybe you guys need this would be good. Part of your curriculum. We'll add it. Matchmaker, find me a love that lasts. Talks all about how to build a beautiful, happy, healthy, long-term relationship. And we will hope to see you and hear from you guys, all of our listeners, with any questions that you have or any guests. If you find awesome guests like Jack that need to be heard, send me ideas, because I would love to interview them. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Aliza.